Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be diving into something pretty interesting today.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic.
It really is.
It's the idea that the U.S. might actually be unintentionally weakening its own global power.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to the dollar.
The mighty dollar.
Exactly.
So we're looking at this through the lens of a Chinese text that we got our hands on.
Yes.
That kind of dissects this whole idea of the dollar being used as a weapon.
Right.
And the consequences of that.
Yeah, and what that could all mean.
So the dollar has been the king of the global currency castle for ages.
Oh, absolutely. It's been top dog for a long time.
Yeah.
But now it's facing some challenges, and this text argues that the U.S. might be the one unknowingly kicking down the castle walls.
Yeah, they're resisting their own creation.
That's a good way to put it.
After World War II, the U.S. was the economic powerhouse.
Oh, yeah, rebuilding the world.
The dollar naturally rose to the top.
It was the currency everyone wanted.
And then Bretton Woods kind of formalized this.
Right. Set the rules of the game for the global financial system.
It's like, imagine a world recovering from war, desperate for stability.
Yeah.
The dollar steps in as this reliable hero.
Absolutely.
Right.
For a while. Yeah, it was a win-win.
Yeah, everyone wins, right?
But then, the plot thickens.
Okay.
The text points out that after the Cold War especially,
Okay.
the U.S. started flexing its dollar muscles
Okay.
in a new way.
All right.
Became a political tool.
So it's not just economics anymore.
No, it's about using the dollar to influence global events.
Okay, so enter the era of weaponizing the dollar.
Yes.
We're talking sanctions.
Yes.
These power moves.
Financial power moves.
Yeah, financial power moves targeting countries like Iran,
Right.
Russia, Venezuela.
Exactly.
So you're trying to cripple these economies
Right.
and pressure them to change their behavior.
It's a tactic that's been used for a long time.
Yeah.
Has it worked to some degree? Maybe.
Yeah.
But the text suggests it's creating a whole new set of problems, almost like a boomerang effect.
Okay, so while the U.S. is busy wielding this dollar weapon,
Right.
other countries are starting to get a little nervous.
Yeah, they're thinking, hang on, if they could do this to them, they could do it to us.
Right, exactly.
And they're looking for ways to dodge those financial bullets.
Yeah.
That's what the text calls de-dollarization.
Okay, de-dollarization. What does that look like?
So it's happening on multiple fronts.
Okay.
Think about Russia and China.
Okay.
They're increasingly trading oil in their own currencies.
So they're completely sidestepping the dollar.
Exactly.
Wow.
And India is exploring ways to settle payments regionally,
Okay.
again, without needing the dollar as the middleman.
So it's like they're creating their own financial highways, bypassing the U.S.-controlled intersection.
You got it.
Okay.
Then you have groups like the BRICS nations.
Okay. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa.
Yep. A significant chunk of the global economy.
Yeah.
And they're openly talking about creating a new reserve currency
Wow.
to rival the dollar.
So it's not just a few rogue states. This is a growing global trend.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And the text argues that this push for de-dollarization is a direct result of the U.S. weaponizing the dollar.
It's like they're trying to hold on to power so tightly that things are slipping through their grasp.
That's a great analogy.
And the text highlights three major ways this could backfire on the U.S.
Yes.
Calling them self-inflicted wounds.
Right.
Let's dive into those.
Okay.
Okay. The first wound.
Is the blowback from sanctions.
Okay.
Countries are trying to avoid the dollar,
Yeah.
which undermines the system the U.S. is trying to control.
It's like cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah, it's a classic case of that.
And it's not just adversaries. Even U.S. allies are getting a little nervous.
Absolutely. They're worried about being caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
They're creating alternative financial systems to protect themselves.
Right, like the Instex mechanism.
Exactly.
Created by European countries.
To facilitate trade with Iran.
Yeah, bypassing U.S. sanctions.
Exactly a clear sign that even allies are starting to hedge their bets.
So the second wound, the loss of global trust.
Right.
The dollar's power rests on faith in the U.S. economy and its financial system.
Absolutely.
But when it becomes a political weapon, that faith starts to erode.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you're lending money to a friend,
Okay.
but they keep using that money to bully other people.
Right.
You start to wonder if they could turn on you next.
Yeah.
It's that kind of unease that we're seeing globally.
Right.
Countries are worried about the unpredictable nature of the dollar as a political tool.
Yeah, and that leads us to wound number 3.
The rise of financial multipolarity
Okay.
as countries move away from the dollar.
Yeah.
Other currencies like the euro and the yuan gain prominence.
Yeah.
It's the emergence of a world where financial power is more spread out,
Okay.
challenging the dollar's dominance.
So we're moving from a dollar-centric system where the U.S. is at the center to a multipolar world
Exactly.
with power spread among several players. So the U.S. is pushing other countries away
Yeah.
and potentially undermining its own economic strength in the process.
It's a complex situation with far-reaching implications.
It really is.
But before we jump into those, let's take a quick break.
Okay, sounds good.
When we come back, we'll explore what the text calls the internal and external contradictions of the dollar.
Stay tuned, everybody. So before the break, we were talking about how weaponizing the dollar might be backfiring on the U.S.
Yeah, pushing countries to find alternatives.
Right, but this isn't just about, losing some global market share, is it?
No, it goes much deeper than that.
Yeah.
The text argues that this could unravel the whole system.
Wow.
It suggests that the U.S. might be hooked on this ability to print dollars and fund its spending
Okay.
because of the global demand for those dollars.
It's like a credit card with no limit
Yeah, you got it.
because everyone accepts it, but what happens if people start refusing that card?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
See, the U.S. government relies on other countries buying U.S. Treasury bonds to fund its debt.
Right.
And those bonds are priced in, you guessed it, dollars.
Right. So the U.S. wants to control the global financial system with the dollar,
Right.
but at the same time, it needs everyone else to keep using that system to keep its own economy afloat.
To keep the engine running.
That sounds like a pretty precarious situation.
It's a tightrope walk, for sure.
Yeah.
It's one of the central contradictions the text highlights.
Okay.
The U.S. wants to wield the dollar as a weapon, but it also needs the world to embrace that weapon
Yeah.
for it to actually work.
And as we talked about earlier, that trust is fading.
It is.
The more the U.S. uses the dollar as a political tool, the more it risks pushing countries away.
And that's the danger.
Yeah.
This dependence on debt, which the dollar's dominance has enabled,
Right.
has actually created vulnerabilities within the U.S. economy itself.
Okay.
The text compares it to cracks in the foundation of a house.
Okay.
Everything looks fine on the surface,
Yeah.
but there's a risk of collapse if the pressure gets too high.
So the U.S. is facing pressure from other countries seeking alternatives to the dollar,
Right.
and pressure from its own economy's reliance on this cycle of debt.
They're being squeezed from both sides.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in.
And here's where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
The text suggests that the U.S. might be trapped.
Okay.
Backing down from using the dollar as a weapon could be seen as weakness,
Right.
but continuing down this path risks even greater blowback
Okay.
and could actually speed up the trends they're trying to suppress.
It really does sound like they're walking a tightrope and the rope's getting thinner.
The stakes are getting higher, for sure.
Yeah.
The text argues that this predicament has created a sense of denial within the U.S.
Okay.
It suggests that policymakers are clinging to the belief that the dollar's dominance is unshakable,
Right.
even as the evidence suggests otherwise.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
That's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
The U.S. might end up being the architect of its own decline if it isn't careful.
The text doesn't shy away from that point, does it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
It uses the phrase, America resisting the dollar,
Wow.
implying that the U.S. is acting against its own interests
Okay.
by holding onto these outdated ideas of power and control.
It's a bold statement.
It is, but it forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths.
So if the U.S. is resisting this shift away from the dollar, what could a post-dollar world actually look like?
Well, the text suggests we're likely moving towards a multipolar system.
Okay.
Instead of power concentrated in one place, it will be distributed among several key players.
So that could involve new reserve currencies?
Potentially.
Maybe even digital currencies,
Possible.
backed by things like commodities.
Right, we're already seeing things like the BRICS nations exploring their own reserve currency.
Right.
And the rise of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
These aren't just temporary blips.
Okay.
These are signs of a deeper shift
Wow.
away from the U.S.-centric system that we've seen for decades.
This is all pretty complex stuff, but it's important to understand these dynamics
It is.
because they could reshape the entire global economic and geopolitical landscape.
It's not just about the U.S. It affects everyone.
And the text doesn't offer all the answers.
No, but it raises the right questions.
It does.
It challenges us to think critically about our assumptions.
Yeah.
About the dollar's role.
Right.
And what might happen as its dominance fades.
So how do we navigate this uncertainty?
Well, the text offers some interesting ideas
Okay.
about how individuals and countries can prepare for this potential shift.
What are some of those ideas?
Well, it emphasizes the importance of diversifying assets
Okay.
and exploring alternative currencies.
So don't put all your eggs in one basket,
Exactly.
especially when that basket is tied to the dollar?
It's about spreading that risk.
Okay.
The text also emphasizes the importance of building resilience and self-sufficiency,
Okay.
both on a personal and national level.
So becoming less reliant on these sprawling global supply chains.
Right? Think about strengthening local economies,
Yeah.
fostering innovation,
Okay.
becoming more self-reliant.
It's a shift in mindset.
It is.
It's about anticipating change and being ready to adapt.
The world is becoming increasingly complex and unpredictable.
Yeah.
And as the text suggests, we need to evolve with it.
So as we reach the final leg of our deep dive, let's explore those practical steps the text suggests.
Okay, that's good.
For navigating this uncertain future, stay with us.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We're wrapping up our deep dive into this Chinese text and its perspective on the dollar.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We really,
We looked at those self-inflicted wounds, those contradictions within the dollar system, and even what a post-dollar world might look like.
it's pretty clear we're at a turning point in global finance.
It really seems that way.
But the text doesn't just, leave us with doom and gloom.
No, it offers some guidance.
It gives us some advice on how to navigate this changing landscape.
Right, practical advice.
Yeah, what's the core message? Diversification.
Okay.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially when that basket is tied to the dollar.
So explore those alternatives.
Exactly.
Precious metals, other currencies investments not tied to the U.S. economy?
Spread that risk.
Spread the risk, okay.
The text also talks about building resilience
Yeah, right.
and self-sufficiency.
Becoming less reliant on those global supply chains.
Exactly.
Strengthening local economies.
Fostering innovation.
Becoming more self-reliant.
It's all connected.
So it's a shift in mindset, anticipating change, being ready to adapt.
Right, the world's getting more complex, more unpredictable.
We need to evolve with it.
Absolutely.
Where does all this leave us in terms of the future of global finance?
Well, the text suggests a multipolar world
Power's more distributed.
among several major players.
So we could see regional currency blocks.
Yeah.
New reserve currencies emerging.
Maybe even a global digital currency.
No single nation calling the shots.
A truly multipolar system.
The text acknowledges there will be challenges.
Oh, there will be bumps in the road.
There will be.
We could see conflict, instability as nations adjust.
It won't be a smooth ride.
No, it won't.
But there's a flip side.
There is.
A chance to build a more stable global financial system.
More equitable as well.
Less manipulation.
More responsive to the needs of all nations.
It's an opportunity to learn from the past.
And create a better future.
A future that benefits everyone.
That's the goal.
That's a future worth striving for.
Absolutely.
But it takes work.
It does.
Proactive engagement dialogue
Working together.
to shape this new reality.
It's a collective effort.
So the text ends on a cautiously optimistic note.
It does.
Recognizes the challenges, but highlights the potential.
It's a call to action.
And that brings us to the big
The
question.
most important one.
What role do you want to play in this unfolding story?
Will you be a spectator or a participant?
It's up to each and every one of us.
The future isn't predetermined,
It's being written right now.
and we all have a part to play.
That's a great point to end on.
It is.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning. Until next time.